Up next, we have Rizel Scarlett, Developer Advocate and ERG Leader at GitHub. Rizel?
Hello. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm so excited. But hi, y'all. I really appreciated that talk by Chris, and I hope I'm able to do it justice. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. I have a lot open. Sorry, y'all. And just making sure you can see my slides. Cool. If you all can't, feel free to interrupt me. But today I'm going to talk about how to support junior developer advocates. So first, I'm going to start with a question, and y'all can answer in your minds or in the chat. Do you think we should actually hire junior developer advocates in the first place? I think this is a common debate in developer relations, along with like, how do we measure success? Like, we're still trying to figure out if we should hire junior developer advocates. And my thought is, like, the answer is yes. We should be hiring junior developer advocates. And instead of questioning whether or not we should hire them, we should be strategizing how to hire and how to support them instead. Because I think it's a no-brainer, and I'll explain a bit why in a second. So for this 15 minutes, and hopefully I'm able to pack it all in, we're going to talk about why we should hire junior developer advocates, how to hire them, and then how to support them. So let's start with the why. A lot of people are really adamant about like not hiring junior developer advocates, and I understand because there's so many skill sets and responsibilities within DevRel, but I think it's possible. And I think here are my 3 reasons. 1, they're going to challenge the status quo. Within any industry, when you hire a junior person, they're going to bring a new audience, they're going to bring new ideas, and they're going to challenge the way that you've always been doing things. For example, maybe you hire a new junior developer advocate and they know TikTok, they know how to use it, they know how to create content, they know how to consume content on there, and they recognize that there's a large developer audience. They may be able to bring something like that to you. Or if they're like a career changer, and maybe they were a teacher for some time, they may be able to bring over some like educational resources or methods for now teaching your developer community. Here's another thing, and it sounds a little bit harsh, but we won't have our jobs forever, right? Eventually, we're going to retire. So we need to be able to train the next generation today, like right now, so they'd be able to carry on what we've done and the things we've learned. And then my last point here is I think it'll diversify the tech industry. There's not a lot of minorities holding senior to C-suite positions in tech. However, there are more junior minorities in general. Like from what I've seen, especially with like Black people, there's not a lot of them in like C-suite positions for DevRel or software engineering, but there are a lot of them in junior positions. So I think that's where we're going to have to source from to get them to that point. And also, since developer advocacy is such a public-facing role, it'll inspire more Black people, more queer people, more women, more disabled people, more neurodiverse people to get into developer advocacy or other technical roles, because they'll be like, oh, if they can do it, I can do it too. And it'll change that narrative also for anybody who has biases, for people, for underrepresented people in technology. All right, so really quickly, who am I? My name's Rizel. I'm a junior developer advocate at GitHub. Prior to that, I was a software engineer for 3 years. I'm an advisor, and I was a director at an organization called G-Code. I love empowering people through technology, and I'm really passionate about social media. So if you like using social media too, go ahead and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, dev.to, Hashnode, all the other social medias, go ahead. So maybe you're like, did you just say you're a junior developer advocate and you're talking to us about hiring juniors? Like, what makes you even qualified for this? But I've been a junior developer advocate for about 1 year and 1 month, and I think I've been able to accomplish just as much as someone who wasn't junior, because I've had such a good team that understood how to support me. So I like took a screenshot of some accomplishments. I'm not gonna like read them all out, but like I've written like 46 blog posts, and like so many people have read them and they've been doing really well. So I think that just goes to show that just because I'm junior doesn't mean I'm going to be a burden to the team. I think I'm actually more of an asset. All right, part 2, let's talk about how to hire junior developer advocates before we even start talking about how to support them. First off, we need to define what junior means to your team. Like, juniors come in different flavors. I think when people think of junior, they're like automatically it's someone that graduated college and has no other work experience. And I do want to add in, and I should have said this earlier, I'm not necessarily talking about all of developer relations in this talk because it's such a broad topic or such a broad department. So I'm mostly focusing on developer advocates. So when I say different types of juniors, here's some examples, right? You might have a junior who has software engineering experience, but never been a developer advocate before. You might have someone who's great with content creation, but doesn't know how to code. You might have someone, again, who graduated college or a coding bootcamp, but doesn't really have much work and experience within the tech industry. And I think these are things you have to identify. What is your team willing to hire? Which skill sets are you all okay with teaching and helping to build up in time? Like, maybe your team's like, we can't teach them how to code, but we can teach them how to create content. Or on the flip side, we can't teach them how to create content, but we can teach them how to code. Also identify mentors who are willing and available to help them. Many times I've started a new job and people have been like, yeah, we're gonna have a mentor assigned to you and you're gonna be doing amazing, da 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 da. And then I join and the mentor either does not want to help me because they got forced in this position, or they just don't have enough time. So I think first you have to check, like, hey, are people interested in mentoring? And then 2, everyone's going to be busy. So having multiple mentors, that if one mentor is not available, the junior developer advocate can lean on another mentor. I also think it's important to write clear expectations and emphasize support in the job description. So when I saw GitHub's junior developer advocate posting, I was like, this is for me. And I think that helped to attract the right people to the role, right? So right here we have learn. They said, what would you do? You're going to learn everything about GitHub, what problems developers are trying to have, and you're not alone in this. You'll be joining an established team who's here to coach you and share ideas and work together. And I was like, that's perfect. That's what I need. I don't know what developer advocacy really is, and I want that mentorship. And then make interviewing worth it. And hopefully I'm able to stay within time. I have so much to say, but making interviewing worth it. Let's talk about that. I think sometimes we may be over-indexed on technical skills. If your team doesn't code that much, or if you know that the person applying is already a software engineer, I say scratch the lead code challenges. You can just talk to them about a project they've built, and you'll be able to get an understanding of their skill set there. And then maybe even more than technical skills, we want to measure more for curiosity, right? Do they want to learn more? Are they willing to learn more? Do they know how to find the answers and resources? I think that's even helpful outside of technical skills, because, for example, I've never been an open source maintainer before, but I often write talks or blog posts advising open source maintainers on what to do. And how I've been able to do that is just from pure curiosity of talking to other people and leaning on different resources. And then I've been able to write advice based on what people have said. Also, I think we talk about empathy in DevRel, and empathy is important, but it's hard to measure empathy for someone who never been an engineer before, or they never worked with engineers. So I think what will be easier to measure on is just asking if they like to help people, or figuring out in their stories, are they indicating that they're fueled by helping? Because helping can get draining sometimes. And figure out if, when they don't know the answer, do they know who to go to, who to ask for more help, and connect them with others. And then no know-it-alls, please. I think know-it-alls create intimidation, and they can lead people astray due to their ego. They're like, they don't want to admit that they don't know. So I think if you hear a candidate say, I don't know, let me find the answer, that's a good sign, or something along those lines. Okay, I know we talk about junior developer advocates or developer advocates in general having good communication skills, but I think that's also something that can be built over time. As they're on the job, they can learn what good communication skills are, or they can learn their communication style, because everyone actually prefers a different communication style. So maybe your definition of good communication skills is not the same as somebody else's. And so just to summarize that part, you want to hire folks who are curious, want to help, and admit that they don't know everything, but they want to learn. And then let's go for the last part on how to support junior developer advocates. And let me check the time. Looks like I have 4 minutes. Let's see what I can say within that time. But one, don't hire them as your first DevRel. I think I've heard people talking about that in the past talks. It's unfair to expect a junior developer advocate to create a strategy that can make or break your developer community's perception of your company. Like, that is just too much pressure and setting them up for failure. So hire them when you have a team. The second thing is sharing responsibilities with them. This is what my team did for me, and it helped to build my confidence as a developer advocate. For example, my manager would host a Twitch stream or a Twitter space, and I would be the moderator. So I'd just be like checking the chat and stuff like that. And that helps me to observe like how he was interacting with the crowd and how I could interact with the crowd in the future. And I was able to like get confident and be able to host my own Twitch streams and Twitter spaces. Along with these other things I've mentioned, such as like peer programming, doing joint talks, and exploring the company's products together. Also allow them to explore their strengths and interests. You want them to be happy to be coming to work and not doing things that they're like, oh, this is so hard or boring. I don't like doing this. I noticed I like writing blog posts and I like doing Twitter spaces, and my company's allowed me to lean on that. But that doesn't mean they're not occasionally challenging me to step out of my comfort zone. Sometimes they'll be like, Rizel, you're going to do this keynote. And I'm like, keynote? Oh no, that sounds scary. But that helps me to break out of my bubble or my shell. And I realized it wasn't that hard. I liked it. Maybe it's not something I'll always do, but I'm okay with doing it in the future. And connect them with other developer advocates outside your company. Right? We're part of DevRelX or maybe DevRel Collective or other organizations. And that's because we want to learn from other developer advocates and other developer relation professionals. And your junior developer advocate should be doing that too, but it can be hard for them to connect with people when they're new to the industry. So go ahead and introduce them to your friends. Be like, this is a bomb junior developer advocate. You should chat with them. And then here's my last point on giving kind feedback. Sometimes people don't, okay, I want to just specify what I mean by kind feedback. That doesn't mean nice feedback where you don't tell them the truth and you tell them they're doing good. I think sometimes as a minority, and because sometimes I'm a nice person, people tend to just like say, oh yeah, you're doing good, but they don't, it's not true. And it's only a disservice to me and other people like that. I'd rather you be honest and tell me what you think I'm doing good, why you think I'm doing it well, and then tell me what you think I'm not doing that good and how it can improve. And then also chat with that person and figure out how they like to receive feedback. Do they want to receive it on Zoom or in a text or have a heads up, whatever. So here's my summary. Hire junior developer advocates because they will make the tech industry better. Find folks who are curious, like to help, and admit they don't know the answers. And then support them by letting them explore, giving them good feedback, and sharing tasks with them until they feel like they can own it. I do have a blog post on this. I can share it in the Slack. But it is on dev.to. It expands way more on all of my thoughts here. It's like 3,000 words, a little too many. But that is all I have. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Slack or wherever, and I'm happy to answer.
We have maybe time for one question, Rizel. Thank you so much. When it says, what resources or tips do you suggest for junior developer advocates who don't have any other DevRel or advocates at the company?
Oh, that is a good question. I'm gonna have to find them for you and then put them in the chat, because right now at the top of my mind, they're not coming. But I know like Mary, who just spoke a little bit before me, and Sam Julian have like great resources that you can learn from.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rizel.